User interface and user experience, UX and UI. Now, a program's user interface and overall user experience are key elements related to engaging and retaining users who interact with the system. The intuitiveness of a system and the ease of which it is to use for its users, and essentially how it makes those users feel when interacting with the system, ultimately will need to be considered when creating a new system if a company or organization is hoping for the system to be successful and hopefully achieve its goals. So what we're going to do now is take a look at these two elements of user interface and user experience. And firstly, we'll look at user interface. And as we said, UI as it's referred to often in the ICT industry. So a program's user interface relates to how its software allows users to interact with the program. A graphical user interface, a GUI, that was the main standard for UI design, in which users are interacting with software through pointing and clicking on on-screen objects. And we have a variety of different types of on-screen objects, such as text boxes, command buttons, radio buttons, and they're all used in different ways to execute different commands within the program. And essentially, there was this point and click generation where I hold a mouse and I'm pointing on the different objects on the screen and then maybe clicking into specific objects and then I could type. But UI design then had to be reinterpreted with the rise of touchscreen technology, which came with mobile phones and tablets and now is in a lot of gaming systems and computer systems as well, essentially allowing users to interact through gesture-based inputs. Touchscreen has been around for many, many years, but once it started to become more mainstream and multi-touch was brought along, it gave us more options for what we could do when touching the screen, and thus user interface had to be built around this. Thus, firstly, icons and screen objects needed to be made larger because people's fingers were a lot more thicker than the preciseness of a point and click device. So straight away that impacted how on-screen objects should look, and specifically icons on screen that users were clicking on. Now, also with the rise of virtual reality and the emergence of things such as the metaverse, UI design will once again need to be reevaluated in order to meet the technology behind those actual systems that come out that make use of those technologies. So we're going to see another wave of UI design that factors in the actual virtual reality elements, augmented reality, and social media through the metaverse, so users can interact in different ways that might not even be thought of yet. So that's the user interface side. And then, as we said, that's a foundation element for the next part, which is that of UX, user experience. And this is a massive industry these days because we don't want people just using our software. We're targeting a specific experience, hopefully a positive experience that people feel when using our system. So UX relates to how users feel when using a system. Ultimately, systems are developed to evoke a specific feelings from its users, such as being entertained, feeling productive, or feeling satisfied. Okay, some sort of emotion attached to the use of a system. And that's what the system's trying to give, a positive experience in this area so that user will keep reusing this system. UI has a major impact on UX, as how a user interacts with an application will in turn affect their experience. So, what they're doing and how they're getting around, basically that's going to affect how they feel when using the system, and you want a real intuitive feeling when using the system so that the user feels satisfied and they're doing what they achieve, once again linking to the system's purpose. Consideration of UX is paramount in a system's development, as systems need to evoke that positive feeling in their users if they hope for an application to be accessed on repeat occasions so the user keeps coming back to the system, as well as be recommended to other users by the user so good word spreads and more people adopt the use of the system. So that is the purpose of UX, giving that positive feeling, keeping customers coming back, and then hopefully allowing a community to be built around the system because of the positive reviews that the system is getting based on its use. So I hope this video is giving you an understanding of UI and UX. Essentially, that UI is the screen interface, the user interface, and it's the objects and screen on-screen elements that allow users to interact with the system. And then it has an influence on UX, the user experience, how users feel when using the system. Essentially, we want to create a positive feeling that keeps users coming back and allows them to enjoy using the system in achieving its purpose.